Hello everybody, how are you going? Welcome to where in this video we are looking at another RMR, another Rick Mercer report. This one being bear tagging, which seems more dangerous than it sounds, and it sounds pretty dangerous.
Welcome to Algonquin Park in beautiful northern Ontario. This is the place that inspired the group of seven. They love to come here and paint its rugged beauty, when of course they weren't running away from the over 2,000 black bears that make this park home. Wow. How do we know how many bears there are? Well, every winter, someone has to track down the bears as they're hibernating in their cave, and then crawl inside the cave and then tag the mother bear and their babies. And this week, that person is me. Note to self, must update will.
Yes. And life insurance and everything else that you're going to be needing like that. I mean, even off the bat, I said it sounds more dangerous than it seems, or it seems more dangerous than it sounds. And now it definitely seems a lot more dangerous than I originally thought. I thought they may be out of, I don't know, start them, they would go down that route, not crawling into the dens in the middle of winter. I mean, yes, they're going to be completely docile, but to what extent are you just lying down and serving yourself up on a silver platter for them? I don't know if you go in head first. Hopefully we get to see. It just sounds like there could be so many possible things that go wrong with it. And I mean, it makes sense that someone has to do it, but I would never have guessed that that is how they would do it.
Note to self, must update will.
Crazy.
So now what kind of wildlife could we see out here?
Okay, we've got about 35 packs of wolves. We've got over 3,000 moose in the park.
So that's a moose carcass?
Yeah, that's a moose carcass. You can see there's all kinds of wolf tracks around it.
Oh, there's a wolf. Call Farley Mowat. There's a moose. Oh, there's a calf. There's a moose and a calf.
Nice, look at these.
Oh, they're hiding under a tree. Very clever moose.
Oh, look at that. You can see all the cameramen.
And I've had a spectacular helicopter ride into the heart of Algonquin Park, and look who it is, Dr. Martin Olbert. Hello, Martin, how are you?
Hello, Rick, nice to meet you.
Good to see you, sir. You are the bear expert.
I'm the bear guy.
You're the bear dude. What's the life expectancy of a black bear?
They'll live into their 20s.
And what's the life expectancy of a bear expert?
That's what I was going to say.
We hope a few more years yet.
I see. What are we going to do?
It literally sounded as though he was setting him up to say, what is the life expectancy of someone in your line of work? And honestly, he seems like he's one in a million. I just cannot see that many people, well, for one, choosing that line of work. You may be a conservationist and all those kind of things. I don't really know how you get into such things, but either way, for that guy to be crawling into dens for years on end, like I said, hopefully a few more years than 20, you're going to be having a few encounters in that time where they're not fully hibernated, or for whatever reason you just wake them up, or it's a bit too warm. There's so many possible things that I feel as though could go wrong that surely you're just not convincing that many people to jump on board with your crusade. But then it does also make me wonder, what possible approach could you take to be counting all these moose? Unless you just walk along a line, just boots on the ground style, I cannot imagine that you would ever be able to just count all these moose, because you can fly around in a helicopter all day, but unless you know you've already counted that one and that one over there, and they're not moving around and they're stuck in the mud or stuck in the snow, so to say, there is surely no way that you would ever be able to tell. I mean, it also, the fact that there is only 3,000 moose for 2,000 bears and 35 packs of wolves, that seems as though the numbers are a little bit skew-iff. There's a few too many hunters for the hunters.
What are we going to do out here today?
Well, at this time of year, Rick, we're visiting our radio-collared bears in their dens.
And they're asleep in their dens.
They're asleep, except for the females that have cubs. They're awake, because of course they're nursing those cubs.
Is that where we're going today?
That's where we're going today.
So this bear is awake?
What?
She's awake.
Do you have a gun?
We don't carry firearms.
So we're just out here in the woods, me and you. And you have students too.
I have students.
They're coming behind us.
They're coming behind
So
us.
if push comes to shove.
Students are expendable.
Right.
They're replaceable.
Exactly.
Literally.
Right. Does the mother bear ever try to come out of the den?
Sometimes, Rick, but
And what do you use to protect yourself then?
that snow shovel that you've got.
The snow shovel. You think that's a good idea? An aluminum snow shovel from Canadian Tire?
It's a good idea, actually, because you're going to block the entrance.
Block the entrance
you
with
are.
a snow shovel.
Put the snow shovel in the entrance so she can't get out.
What? Are you talking about a bear? I mean, it's not a grizzly in terms of size and power, but it's still a bear, for goodness sake. It could rip that thing in two. It's not even a steel one. It's got timber all throughout it, probably a plastic handle. How is that ever possibly going to be blocking the entrance? I mean, I guess this guy has to be somewhat experienced because he's still around, and unless he started last week, I can only presume that he has used that exact technique many times, just you shall not pass it. To be fair though, I do absolutely love the fact that they do not carry any sort of firearms or honestly any sort of defensive weapons realistically. A shovel doesn't particularly count in this instance, and I guess that just comes down to the fact that they do not feel threatened by what they are doing, which just feels completely backwards. There is no way that I would imagine that you can crawl into a bear's den and associate that with being safe. But if it's working for them, and there poses no danger to either party, then that's fantastic.
Put the snow shovel in the entrance so she can't get out. And you're going to hold her there until I drug her.
Oh, okay.
They're not aggressive. Let's put it that way.
I thought you said earlier that some of them were.
Some of them are.
I see. So they're not aggressive except for the aggressive ones.
Exactly.
But I have a shovel.
You have a shovel. Okay, Rick, just up ahead here.
You've been saying that all day. Just up ahead, just beyond this stump.
She's right here, Rick. She's just come around here a little ways. You can see her ear tags and her radio, the top of her radio collar.
Get the drugs. Get the drugs now.
I want to see this. Oh, man. I just cannot imagine just being there. Even just this zoomed up shot right there, you can just feel the presence, and there's a serious stare that's going on there. Like if you really try to do anything funky, especially with my cubs around here, you will be ripped from limb. And so I cannot imagine the feeling of just coming around the corner, of just going, please don't suddenly jump out. Don't be one of the, I don't know what percentage, but one of the aggressive ones. I mean, I can imagine that they know who are going to be typically more aggressive than others, and they wouldn't take Rick to those ones. But either way, like I said, I guess it's a needed service in these kind of parks to know what the populations are doing and to hopefully try and help the population. But if you could not do it, I'm sure everyone would love to not do it, in the fact that you're not then disturbing the bears and you don't also have to deal with any negative things at all. However, it has also opened up so many other questions in terms of, he said, the ear tags, but also the radio collar, which makes sense in terms of, I guess, tracking them so you know where they're going to be denning for the year. Do they use the same dens typically, or do they move around too much? Because this just looks like there's a log that is, or a tree that has fallen over it. It seems like a great den, but surely that's not going to be every single year. That could have fallen over 2 months ago.
Come around here a little ways. You can see her ear tags and her radio, the top of her radio collar.
Right.
Get the drugs. Get the drugs now.
Man.
Did you see its eyes?
So we'll get somebody to make up the drugs.
How about a double dose?
Sometimes they need a double dose.
I think we should go with a double dose.
Okay, we'll see how the first one works.
No, let's just double it up. What's this called?
Jab stick.
The jab stick.
Yeah.
This is a real technical operation, isn't it? Got the shovel and the jab stick.
You'll have your shovel ready
Oh, my shovel is ready.
in case she tries to come out.
I hit you and run.
Well, I guess that would certainly put the entire career path on a different trajectory, because he was hoping to get a few more than 20 years out of his career. But like he was saying, just the attention to detail in the naming schemes has really just blown the budget, going from the aluminium shovel from, like you said, Canadian Tire, which I wouldn't put it past them, but I would also, from what I've heard, hope not. And then just the jab stick, which means that someone has to go close without any sedation, unless they put it on a really long pole, perhaps. Either way, I guess you were still dealing with the fact that, like I said, you're not going to be taking Rick to an overly aggressive or known aggressive one. And then from there, maybe even though she's not asleep hibernating, she's still going to be a little bit hibernating or just bunkering down.
I hit you and run.
Okay, now. Okay, it's on a little bit of a long pole.
Okay, time.
This is one of those moments that if something goes wrong, everyone will say they had it coming. And it's my job to go in there and get those cubs?
Right. In a few minutes.
What?
They're quite young cubs. Their eyes are not open yet. So they're only about 6 weeks old.
I think there's 3.
You're right, there's 3.
You know how I could tell?
How's that? You could count?
Count the heads.
Grab her by the ear and tug on it just to see whether she responds.
Pull on the bear's ear.
Yeah, right. I think you're good.
Okay.
What? I would love to know how long did the sedation take? Because they've just been hanging out, just literally right above for all these years, or not years, all these minutes. I mean, I'm sure it feels like years. I was also then thinking in that regard, I wonder how long and how many years that they've been doing this. And so I guess the bear, to a degree, would know what's going on. I mean, it's still going to be completely alien, but if it's not the first time, then at least maybe you might know. But then they said the cubs are only 6 weeks old, and I don't know what kind of gestation period and cycle period they have, but is this the first litter cub pack, whatever you want to be calling it, that she's had? Because that would completely change you. You go from being, just dealing with yourself to being an entire family. There's some pretty higher stakes on board here, and so the fact that they didn't freak out at all is crazy to me. I mean, I have definitely heard that black bears are fairly timid in comparison to every other type of bear. They do like to, let's say, forage and come into neighborhoods and dig through people's rubbish and whatnot, but then if they get found, they bolt out of there. And so I guess you were dealing with all those factors. That then does make me question, though, is there somebody that has to do this to grizzlies and polar bears? Because that sounds like an absolute recipe for disaster. Even like he mentioned, if something went wrong, people would just say, they had it coming. Let alone when you're dealing with bears that aren't as timid, for goodness sake. And then hang on a second, I just need to watch this bit again. The fact that the proven or prescribed method for checking is to stick your hand in the den and tug on the ear. That, I don't understand how any of this is the prescribed method. Yeah, you stick the jabby stick in, you use a shovel, and then you pull on the bear's ear. There's no way, if you told me that I'd believe you. I'm just steering well away if that was the prescribed method that was given for me, unless you prove it to me. And even then, I'm just going to be, like you said, running away if absolutely necessary.
Pull on the bear's ear.
Yeah, Rick. I think you're good.
Okay.
Okay, number 1. Good job.
My God. How cute is that?
Ridiculous.
Okay, little bear.
And another one. Good job.
Oh my goodness. Is that the cutest thing ever? Hello, little bear.
Rick, I think what we should do, Rick,
Okay, yes, what do we do now?
I think you should pass the cubs over to...
No. No.
Well, you gotta help me get Mom out now.
Okay, no.
No?
Yes, okay.
Hang on. There's so much that is just a part of this that just doesn't make sense. For one, I don't want the cub screaming. I feel as though even though I pulled on her ear, she's going to hear that and she's, not going to care about the sedation anymore. She may be drugged up to the max. She may have a double dose, but that is just going to ignite something within her just to make her come out and rip you limb from limb. And then the fact that they're also about to drag her out of the den. What a weird and alien experience that would be for them, just to go, geez, I was hibernating and then I fell asleep, which was weird because I was really trying not to, because I'm trying to protect my cubs. And then I swear I didn't fall asleep in this position 6 months ago or whatever it was. Like, it'd be so strange. I cannot imagine if you did this to any human, you'd get sent to jail forever. But just to do it for animals, once again, it makes sense as a service. But there are just so many things that just seem like they could go wrong. As well as, I just want to know, and I guess we'll hopefully see, what are they going to do with the cubs? Are they going to do the ear? Because they couldn't do the collar unless it's going to be the best bungee in the world. There's no way that they're going to be able to grow full size and not have to change it out. Let's just see, I guess.
Okay, yes, what do we do now?
I think you should pass the cubs over to...
No. No.
Well, you gotta help me get Mom out now.
Okay, no.
No?
Yes, okay. Can I name them?
Well,
You don't encourage that, do
we
you?
number them, Rick.
I'm going to name them. The screaming one is Danny Williams. You change the collars every year?
Yeah, their batteries last about a year.
Okay.
Interesting.
Thank you. So just screw the things off?
Yep.
Now we have to send that to Ottawa because Stephen Harper needs it for Jim Flaherty. Keep an eye on it. All his ministers wear these. This is government issue.
There she comes.
Technically.
1, 2, 3.
Okay, she's a little bit littler.
Now we have to weigh this guy.
Just put him inside the
Put
bag.
him down in the Loblaws bag. What's he weigh?
So he weighs 1.5 kilograms.
Okay, shush, 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 shush. We're going to measure your head. Are Canadian bears the only ones with universal health care? Oh, no. Look at that. Oh.
Okay, let's go back.
That's
Back
it.
in the jacket. Hang on. This guy's about to just be smuggling bears out of the entire park. No wonder he just accepted this entire experience. He's going, okay, I may be putting up a brave face towards not particularly wanting to face off Mama Bear, but if I can just nab a cub out of this because he seems completely in love, then I'm sure he would. But no, it now makes sense as to why they had to get the cubs out, to be measuring their development and all that kind of thing. So I guess they can tell how old they are and just even numbering them. So then if something happened during the year, they know that they had 3 last year and maybe now they have 2. I guess things like that. It does make sense, especially in this day and age. You sadly have to be keeping track of these kind of things. Otherwise, it just completely goes wayside without you even noticing very, very quickly, I'm sure. And then going back to, like I said, well, Mama Bear and generally the bears are quite light. I mean, for him to say that that entire cub was only 1.5 kilos, I would have thought it would be 5 kilos. Oh, I don't know. Something more like that. Definitely not 1.5. That is so light. I mean, yeah, they're only 6 weeks, but it's still a sizable lump of bone and flesh, for goodness sake, let alone the fact that just 4 guys just seemingly dragged Mum out fairly easily. Like, look at this, just 1 limb each, trying to obviously protect her. They've wrapped her nose in something I noticed just then, and I don't really know why. Maybe just for the light, but she's out, so I have no idea. But even that, she may be what? 100 kilos, 120 kilos if 4 guys are lifting her? No idea. There is so much about this that is just alien to me and to the bear. The last thing I want to touch on is please just provide a little bit more context as to what he's talking about here, because he is saying names that I do not recognize. I mean, I understand generally what he's talking about in terms of a certain someone wants to be keeping track of a certain other someone using these bear collars, and it's government issue, which, like I said, is technically correct unless this is a private organization. Regardless, I am now wondering, when did this come out? Because for goodness sake, make that collar a little bit smaller. I can understand it's an entire year, so there's going to be a decent amount of battery in there, and it's a GPS, and he actually said radar, which is interesting. But come on, I mean, I know it's a bear, but that's a brick on your back.
Here's your new collar. Same as last year's model, except it carries way more songs. I can't believe I have 2 baby bears in my coat. Oh, this one's breastfeeding. Each one of them is with 1 arm. Nice and slow.
That's crazy.
There you go.
3 kilos though.
I can see why magicians work with rabbits. There we go.
Oh my god.
Okay. Okay.
1
That's a big 145.
1, 2, 3.
45 kilos, I guess.
Okay. Yep. And tuck the cubs under against her chest.
And put her right up against her teats.
Yeah. And you can put all 3 right in there.
Okay. Do I have to put 3 back?
Yes.
I can't keep 1?
No.
Just under my jacket on the helicopter?
Just her left front leg.
I
and put
wasn't
them
wrong.
on her
All right,
chest.
Come on. There you go.
Number 2.
There we go. Come on, Danny. Oopsie daisies. In you go. Okay. And number 3.
God.
Okay. Alrighty.
It's a hell of a thing to do, and I'm now just been going, hang on a second, they said they have 2,000 bears, and they only have the winter period to be doing it, so they must be busy. They only have 150 days to get to 2,000. That is a serious amount of... hopefully they have multiple teams, otherwise this team is the most efficient team I've ever seen, just flying around, helicopter, bang, 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 bear out, bear in, sedation done, everything like that, weighs, scales. But, oh man, that is still a lot to get through, as well as then doing all the other tracking between the 35 wolf packs and all the moose. I guess you can do all of that year round, but still, that's a hell of a thing to be doing. And also, what can I say besides the fact that I absolutely called it with him wanting to take these cubs home, which is a very juxtaposing thing from the start, where he obviously was going, get the sedation in there. I mean, I guess he was never really worried about the bear cubs, but still, just going, you know what that grows into, right? You can only have it for maybe another 3 months, and then it's basically going to look like what the other one looks like. And I don't really think you're going to want it anymore, because you might be a little bit too afraid of it. And of course, I do also agree with the fact that they are very, very cute cubs, but no, you do absolutely have to be putting them back where they belong, not messing with their ecosystem any more than we have to.
Number 2.
There we go. Come on, Danny. Oopsie daisies. In you go. Okay. And number 3. Okay. Alrighty. Bye-bye, bears. Bye-bye, bears. Okay, time to get out of here before Mom wakes up.
Now we're gonna close off entrance with branches.
Okay.
Oh, nice. I wonder if... See, even that.
Thank you, Marty, sir.
Rick,
That was an incredible day.
I'm glad you enjoyed
We
it.
came, we saw, we protected a species.
True.
You're watching the Mercer Report on CBC.
Of course. And for once you can say that no, the babies aren't sleeping, the babies are the ones that are awake. Mum is sleeping, and that's the one you certainly do not want to be waking up too prematurely. I mean, like I was saying, it must be so alien. Just waking up and someone shut the front door on you. You heard none of that there prior. You could see right out. You could go, okay, I've got my beady eyes on patrol at all times. And then someone's gone ahead and put branches and snow in your way. At least then maybe you go, a little bit of peace and quiet. I couldn't do that myself, but hey, now I can finally go into full hibernation mode and just really chill out for the rest of the winter, so to say. But no, that just seems like such an awesome experience for him. You know, you're never going to get that kind of experience from doing a desk job. You get to be flown around in a helicopter, in an awesome views, in a national park, and then go do something that you would never dream of doing. Forcefully, gracefully, but forcefully, removing bear cubs from the mother, but all in a safe environment. That's what I'm still blown away by, is the fact that, like they said, they don't carry any firearms. None of that ever seemed particularly dangerous. Everyone just hung out, and they did what they needed to do, and they left. It was really quite, in the grand scheme of things, quite respectful of what they're actually doing there. And so well done to everyone that does that method, and well done to Rick for just getting on board and doing and digging in there.